Imagine you are standing inside the biggest football stadium in England. 74,000 people around you, all dressed in red. The noise, you do not just hear it, you feel it in your chest. Now imagine that same club decades earlier nearly ceasing to exist. Imagine the players who never came home. Imagine one man sitting in a hospital bed being told he might not survive the night and choosing somehow to rebuild everything from nothing. That is the story of Manchester United. And honestly, it is one of the greatest stories football has ever told. This story does not start in a gleaming stadium. It starts in a train depot. In 1878, a group of railway workers in Newton Heath, a working-class district of Manchester, decided to form a football team. They called themselves Newton Heath LYR Football Club. Their pitch was a patch of rough ground. Their kit was whatever they could find. But they played with passion, and slowly people started to notice. By 1892, they had made it into the Football League. But off the pitch, the money was running out fast. By 1902, the club was completely broke, on the verge of shutting down forever. Then a local businessman named John Henry Davies stepped in. He paid off the debts, brought in fresh investment, and with it, a new identity. Newton Heath was gone. Manchester United had arrived. 8 years later, on 19 February 1910, Old Trafford opened its doors for the very first time. It held 80,000 people and was considered the most impressive ground in English football. A stage had been built. Now it needed its players. When World War II ended in 1945, Manchester United were left with a bombed-out stadium and almost no money. Most clubs would have scaled back their ambitions. Matt Busby did the opposite. Busby was a former player, calm, intelligent, obsessed with football done the right way. He told the United board he would only take the job on one condition: total control. No interference. His team, his methods, his vision. They agreed. And with that handshake, everything changed. Within a few years, Busby had built a genuine title-winning side. They won the First Division in 1952, then again in 1956 and 1957. But what made this team truly special was not just the trophies. It was the age of the players. These kids, Roger Byon, Tommy Taylor, Eddie Coleman, and a teenager from the Black Country named Duncan Edwards, were playing football that felt like it was from the future. Edwards in particular was something else entirely. Physically powerful, technically brilliant, a leader at 18 years old. People who watched him play struggled to find the words. The world was watching. This was going to be the greatest United team ever assembled. And then came February 1958. On 6 February 1958, the Manchester United squad were flying home from a European Cup tie in Belgrade. The plane stopped to refuel in Munich. The runway was slushy with sleet and snow. The pilot attempted takeoff twice and aborted. On the third attempt, the plane failed to gain speed and crashed through the airport perimeter fence. 23 people died. 8 of them were Manchester United footballers: Roger Byon, Tommy Taylor, Eddie Coleman, Mark Jones, David Pegg, Jeff Bent, Liam Whelan, and Duncan Edwards, 21 years old, who fought in intensive care for 15 days before losing his battle on 21 February. Matt Busby himself was so badly injured that a priest administered the last rites. Twice. When he was finally well enough to leave hospital and return to Manchester, he was a changed man. But he had made a promise to himself, to the city, to the memory of those boys. He was going to rebuild, no matter what it took. Busby found new players: a wizard from Belfast named George Best, a sharp, brilliant striker from Lanarkshire, Denny's Law, and a quiet, dignified survivor of Munich himself, Bobby Charlton. Together, they became known simply as the Holy Trinity. And on 29 May 1968, exactly 10 years after Busby had nearly died in Munich, Manchester United walked out at Wembley for the European Cup final against Benfica. They won 4-1 after extra time. Charlton scored twice. When the final whistle blew and Busby held that trophy, the entire stadium went quiet for a moment. Not because they did not want to celebrate, but because everyone, Absolutely everyone understood the weight of what had just happened. Following someone like Matt Busby is honestly an almost impossible task. And the next 17 years proved exactly that. 5 different managers came and went. Wilf McGuinness, Frank O'Farrell, Tommy Docherty, Dave Sexton, Ron Atkinson. Each one brought promise. Each one ultimately fell short. Then in 1974, something happened that still feels surreal when you say it out loud. Manchester United were relegated to the 2nd division. The club that had won the European Cup just 6 years earlier, playing in the 2nd tier, against teams like Millwall and York City. And the goal that sent them down, it was backheeled and almost accidentally by a man called Dennis Law, playing for Manchester City, his former club. Law immediately walked off the pitch. There was no celebration, just grief. They came back up the following year. Tommy Docherty built an exciting young side that reached back-to-back FA Cup finals. There were glimpses of the old magic, but the league title felt a very long way away. While United were struggling, Liverpool were dominating Europe. Nottingham Forest under Brian Clough were winning European Cups. For United fans, it was a long, painful wait. 6 November 1986. A 44-year-old manager from Govan, Glasgow walks through the doors of Old Trafford for his first day of work. His name is Alex Ferguson. He had already won the Scottish League multiple times with Aberdeen. He had beaten Real Madrid in a European final. He was tough, relentless, brilliant, and he had no intention of being patient. But the early years were genuinely difficult. 3 seasons without a trophy, players drinking too much. A culture that needed completely breaking down. In January 1990, with United struggling in the league, newspaper headlines were openly calling for his sacking. Then came a 3rd-round FA Cup tie. Mark Robins, a young striker, headed in a goal. United won. The story goes that goal saved Ferguson's job. He went on to win that FA Cup, and the real journey began. When the Premier League era kicked off in 1992, Ferguson was ready. He had a captain in Steve Bruce and Brian Robson. He had brought in a temperamental genius from Leeds named Eric Cantona, a player who would define the era. And he had begun producing his own youngsters, Giggs, Beckham, Scholes, the Neville brothers, but a generation that would go on to dominate English football. In 1993, United won the title for the first time in 26 years. Fans who had waited their whole lives finally had something to celebrate, and Ferguson was just getting started. Then came 1999. The year that still makes United fans go quiet with reverence and makes every other fan go quiet with something else entirely. Champions League Final. Camp Nou, Barcelona. United against Bayern Munich. With 90 minutes played, United are losing 1-0. The Bayern fans are already celebrating. The trophy is being engraved with the German club's name. United are done, or so everyone thinks. Minute 91. Teddy Sheringham turns in a corner, 1-1. The Camp Nou is stunned, but United are not finished. Minute 93. Another corner. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer sticks out a leg and pokes the ball into the roof of the net. 2-1. Manchester United have won the Champions League. They have already won the Premier League and the FA Cup that same season. The treble, the most extraordinary achievement in English football history, is complete. Ferguson rebuilt the squad again. Then again. Then again. That is what separated him from every other manager, the ability to change, to evolve, to see the game shifting and shift with it. A young Portuguese winger arrived in 2003, Cristiano Ronaldo, and Ferguson turned him from a talented teenager into the best player on the planet. A Champions League title in 2008, another Premier League, and another, and another. When Ferguson finally retired in May 2013 after 26 years and 38 trophies, the football world genuinely did not know what to say. He had won 13 Premier League titles, 5 FA Cups, 4 League Cups, 2 Champions Leagues, and he had done it at one club in one city across 3 complete decades. Here is the honest truth about what happened after Ferguson left. Nobody, not the players, not the board, not even the fans, truly understood how much one man had been holding together. David Moyes came in as Ferguson's chosen successor. He lasted less than a year. Louis van Gaal brought structure and tactics, but also turgid football and no league title. Jose Mourinho arrived with his 3 trophies in the first season philosophy and delivered exactly that, then fell out with half the dressing room. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that same man who poked in the winner in Barcelona in 1999, came back as manager, united the fan base emotionally, got United back into the Champions League, and ultimately could not take the team to the next level. Erik ten Hag arrived from Ajax in the summer of 2022 with a clear, structured vision. In his first season, he delivered the League Cup, United's first trophy in 6 years. Then in FA Cup in 2024, the foundations felt steadier, but the league remained elusive. Off the pitch, the debate around the Glazer family's ownership, who bought the club in a controversial leveraged takeover in 2005, has never really gone away. Fan protests, open letters, green and gold scarves worn in defiance. In 2023, INEOS founder Sir Jim Ratcliffe purchased a 25% stake in the club and began overseeing football operations, a new chapter in an already complicated ownership story. The search continues, but it always does at United. That is, in some ways, the point. You can measure Manchester United in trophies, and there are plenty of them. 20 league titles, 13 FA Cups, 3 European Cups, a treble that no English club has ever matched. But that is not really what the club is about, not at its core. Manchester United is a club that was nearly killed before it was even famous. It is a club that lost 8 of its best players in a plane crash and chose to carry their memory forward rather than be destroyed by grief. It is a club that went 26 years without a league title and then found a manager who won it 13 more times. Every generation of United fans has had their moment of darkness. And every generation has been given a reason to believe again. That cycle, the pain and the comeback, the expectation and the heartbreak and the hope, is not a flaw in the story of Manchester United. It is the story. And it is why, on a Tuesday night in some city you have never heard of, someone is wearing a red shirt and feeling like they are part of something bigger than themselves.